Jet age.
Throughout history, inventors have changed how people do things. Their inventions usually make life better. Many inventions have changed how people move. Carriages and wagons helped people cross land. Boats allowed people to travel on water. Because of these inventions, people could move from place to place faster. However, the development of engines really changed how people move. An engine is a machine that changes energy into movement. Engines burn fuel to produce heat. Coal, wood, and oil are examples of fuel. The heat is the energy that causes motion. Inventors have made many types of engines. The steam engine made moving by ship and trains much faster. The jet engine is one of the most important engines invented. It made traveling through the sky a reality. Modern airplanes use jet engines. People all over the world cross oceans in hours in them. Modern air travel, or the jet age, is here. It has connected the world. When you think of airplane inventors, who do you think of? You might think of airplane pioneers like Orville and Wilbur Wright. It's true that they flew the first engine-powered airplane in 1903. However, the Wright brothers did not bring the jet age. The first airplanes, like the Wright brothers airplane, used engines to move propellers. Propellers are blades that turn like a fan to pull an airplane forward. These propeller planes could not go very far. They were not very fast. They could not carry many people. One of the biggest propeller passenger planes was the Boeing 247D. It carried only 10 passengers. This means only a few people could move from place to place using airplanes. Today, airplanes carry many more than 10 passengers. The biggest passenger planes, like the Airbus A380, can carry over 800 passengers. So how did airplanes go from 10 to 800 passengers? The answer is the jet engine. The jet engine made it possible for airplanes to travel farther. They could travel faster. They could carry more people. This is because the jet engine is more powerful than the propeller engine. Two different people invented the jet engine at the same time. However, they didn't know each other. In fact, they didn't even know they were working on the same invention. Frank Whittle was in the British Air Force in the 1920s. He had many ideas about how to improve airplane engines. He presented his jet engine idea to Air Force officials in 1928. They didn't like the idea, but Frank didn't give up. He found a way to build his engine by getting help from a private company. In 1937, Frank's jet engine was a success, at least on the ground. He tried his engine in a workshop. At the same time, another engineer was working on the jet engine. He was in a different country. Hans von Ohain was in Germany, and he worked for an airplane company. The company was trying to improve airplane engines. The first airplane flew with the jet engine in 1939. The plane was called the Heinkel HE-178. Air inlet, compressor, fuel, combustor, turbine, exhaust. So what makes a jet engine so powerful? How does it work? A big fan is attached to the front of the engine. The fan sucks in cold air. The cold air goes into a big tube called a combustion chamber. In the tube, the cold air mixes with fuel. They burn together. This burning produces very hot gases. The gases are pushed out of the back of the tube. This escape of gases causes thrust, the forward movement of the airplane. Jet engines were first used in airplanes to fight wars. The engines were very loud and used a lot of fuel. Engineers kept working on the design of the engine. They made many improvements in the 1940s and 1950s. They made quieter jet engines that use less fuel. They used these improvements to make jetliners. Jetliners are passenger planes that use jet engines. The jetliner that changed air travel flew in 1958. It was called the Boeing 707. This jetliner had 4 jet engines. It could carry 181 passengers. It went nearly 1,000 kilometers per hour. It wasn't the first jetliner, but it was the first successful one. The jet age arrived with the Boeing 707. More and more people could travel farther. They could go more quickly. The world was shrinking. It took less time to go from one place to another place. People could fly across countries instead of taking a train. People could fly over the ocean instead of taking a ship. In 1970, there was another big change in air travel. The Boeing Airplane Company made another jetliner, the Boeing 747. This new airplane is so big, we call it the jumbo jet. How big is it? It is as tall as a 6-story building, like some hospitals. It is as wide as a soccer field. The cockpit, where the pilots sit, is high up in this plane. The pilots use a spiral staircase to get to it. A few passengers sit in the upper deck behind the cockpit. Most passengers sit in the lower deck. The 747 can carry over 400 passengers. A 747 has 4 powerful jet engines. There are 2 engines under each wing. It travels at about the same speed as the 707. However, it can carry more fuel. That means it is more efficient. With the development of the 747, even more people could afford to fly. How do people get from one country to another? It takes many people to get jetliners from one place to another. Let's go on a pretend journey. It starts in Dubai and ends in Bangkok. We will fly in one of the largest jetliners, the Airbus A380. We will meet the crew who help you get from one place to another. Passengers must go to an airport to board a jetliner. Dubai Airport is one of the busiest airports in the world. There are people from all over the world in this airport. First, you check in with your airline. You take your ticket to the check-in counter. You put your suitcase on the scale. The check-in clerk makes sure that the suitcase isn't too heavy. There is a limit to how much the airplane can carry. Your suitcase goes on a conveyor belt along with all the other suitcases. Baggage handlers will put it in the hold of the airplane. You will see your suitcase again in Bangkok. After check-in, you go through airport security. The security guards look for any items that you can't take inside the airplane. Some items may be dangerous. For example, passengers are not allowed to carry matches in an airplane. A fire could start accidentally. The next stop is the gate. The gate is where your airplane is parked. It waits for passengers. There are many gates. You look up at a screen to find your flight and your gate number. You notice that the airplane in the gate next to yours is going to Jakarta. The airplane on the other side is going to Manila. In only hours, you will be in Thailand. Some of the people around you will be in Indonesia or the Philippines. The jet engine has really connected the world. You sit down at your gate, where there are large windows. Your jetliner is sitting outside. It is huge. You watch a mechanic putting fuel into it. The jetliner is connected to the building by a jet bridge. This is an enclosed bridge. It connects the door of the jetliner to the door of the gate. It won't be long until you walk down the bridge and board your plane. First, the crew members board the plane. As you wait, a group of people walk by wearing uniforms. They are pulling small suitcases. Some of the crew control the plane. They are pilots. There is a captain, the pilot in charge, and a co-pilot. If the plane is going a long distance, there will be 2 captains and 2 co-pilots. They will take turns. The rest of the crew are flight attendants. They take care of the passengers. It is almost time to board the plane. You stand up and go closer to the window to look out one last time. There are many airplanes connected to their gates. Most of the airplanes have a flag painted on their tail. You can see a flag from Sudan and another from Brazil. There is even a flag from Japan. It seems like there is an airplane from every corner of the world right here at the airport. Finally, you board the plane. The jet bridge is narrow. Only 2 people can walk side by side. At the end, there is a flight attendant. She welcomes you as you step into the plane. She says your seat is to the right, at the back. You find your seat number and put your small bag in the bin above your seat. Then you sit down and buckle your seatbelt. It will be time to take off soon. Everyone is seated and it's time to take off. The airplane travels to the runway. This is the long strip of land a plane uses to take off or land. The plane is still for a moment. Then it starts moving again. It goes faster and faster. You can hear the engines, but they are not too loud. You tilt back in your seat a little as the jetliner begins to climb into the sky. Soon, the jetliner will be flying about 13,000 meters up in the sky. You will be in Bangkok in just over 6 hours. This is possible thanks to the jet engine.
Discuss. How did the jet engine change the way people move?